it's Dr. Shirazi. I am a board certified dermatologist. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about tattoos and tattoo removal. I recently did an interview with Women's Health magazine, and I'm seeing so many articles pop up on the New York Post recently talking about a new study that looked at 53 different tattoo inks, and 23 of them were found to have hazardous or cancer-causing chemicals. So I wanted to talk about methods for removal. Is it worth getting a tattoo? Things that, from a health perspective, you should be thinking about if this is something you have or are thinking of getting one. Now, tattoos are personal. They are a form of art, and I know they mean a lot to a lot of people, but I'm not really giving my personal opinion on tattoos, just some of the medical literature that has come up that concern just the overall health of people with tattoos or thinking of having tattoo removals. They can also make it very difficult for dermatologists like myself to do a skin exam, because if you have a mole that's in that dark tattoo and that mole becomes cancerous, sometimes it can be hard to detect and analyze. So these are things to think about if you are considering a tattoo. But before we get started, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. Share this with a friend who might also find this interesting. So I started getting interested in this topic when the EU earlier this year banned 4,200 inks that are now considered illegal to use in tattoos because they've been linked to certain cancers and deemed unsafe. And this is something that has been sort of ongoing. There's been limited research and data, but now I'm seeing more and more clinical studies on this. And so I wanted to, one, talk about laser tattoo removal, and two, tell you about a new way to remove tattoos that actually expels them from the skin. Because as many of you may not know, laser tattoo removal does not remove the ink from your skin. It actually just shatters it, and then it's left up to your body to dispose of the ink. So I want to go into detail on this. So how does laser tattoo removal actually work? Well, lasers are a coherent beam of light that have selective targets in the skin, such as melanin, hemoglobin, and then they can target different colors. So depending on the color of tattoo, you have to use specific laser wavelength to actually target it and deliver enough energy for that ink to get absorbed, and then use that energy to shatter the ink particles. Once the ink gets shattered into tiny fragments, then your body's immune system starts to attack the ink and engulfs it, specifically a type of white blood cell known as macrophages. Macrophages will then engulf the ink and take it into the lymphatic system, and it actually goes through our lymphatic system, circulates throughout our body, and eventually will get secreted and excreted in our urine, our sweat, our feces. Yes, you poop it out. So it actually doesn't come out of the skin once you do the laser removal. Now, different lasers target different inks, which can also be a problem with laser tattoo removal because not all the inks really are responsive. The easiest ink to remove is black. That can be removed by a lot of the different lasers. Now, these lasers have to be either Q-switch or picosecond lasers. They fire at very, very short intervals, much more so than standard lasers that are not deemed Q-switch or picosecond lasers. But the bottom line is there is an increasing concern for the safety of these inks, and also for the safety of removing the inks using laser technology, because again, it doesn't actually expel the ink from the skin. It engulfs it up into the lymphatic system and into our system, which then causes it to circulate in our bodies. More and more studies are looking at how this could affect and impact our overall health and safety. So with that said, in light of all this concern, I want to tell you about a new method that actually expels the ink from your skin, and that is called Tattoo Away. Tattoo away, it's less painful than laser tattoo removal. When we do laser tattoo removal, we actually have to use an injection to numb the skin because it is very uncomfortable. You still have a wound on the skin for 5 days, 7 days until it heals over. And it takes so many sessions. When I used to do laser tattoo removal, I would do 10, 15 sessions before actually lightening a tattoo. And although it's considered selective and doesn't necessarily scar the skin, but once you tattoo the skin with an ink, that in itself will scar the skin. So just something to be aware of. And then I'm seeing people on TikTok tattooing freckles, yes, tattooing freckles on their face, not realizing that in itself scars the skin, and there's so many risks involved. The tattooing never stays the same, it changes throughout life. And if you were to get any other type of laser, such as an IPL or BBL down the line, it could change the color of that ink and turn it dark. So something to be aware of. So unlike laser tattoo removal, tattoo away doesn't actually depend on the color of ink that you have, because it removes all ink colors and it expels the ink from the skin. We actually see the skin scab and the ink come out of the skin. It's much less painful than laser tattoo removal. So if you have to use an injection numbing with laser tattoo removal, with tattoo away, you actually just use topical numbing and patients are very comfortable. We also use a cold air while we are doing the removal. Tattoo away uses a fractionated technique that transepidermally releases the ink. And it looks like a little device that's a dermabrasion device. It's a mechanical way of expelling that ink, getting your own body's response to take the ink and expel it out of the skin. It requires 3 to 5 sessions depending on the density and location of your tattoo. You can do these treatments every 6 weeks. And every time you have the tattoo removal, it only removes a certain percentage, about 30% of the tattoo at a time. It's really important to keep the skin out of the sun during your healing phase. You will be given a cover to place on the site for the first week or so. You don't want to really use a lot of ointment on the area while it's healing. You want your body to naturally form a scab, because ultimately that is where the ink is and that is how the ink gets expelled from your body. It's important that at about 7 to 10 days, you start on medicated creams that Tattoo Away will provide you, and that helps with the healing and it helps with the outcome of your treatment. You also want to start on a silicone gel sheet at about 10 days once the scab falls over, and you want to use that throughout your treatment cycles. So it's really important to follow these steps closely to get the maximum benefit out of your treatment. Typically, the average cost can be anywhere from $250 to $750 per session, which, believe it or not, can be much less expensive in the long run when you're using a technology like Tattoo Away, because it takes much fewer sessions than the laser and it's not as painful. We don't have to use injection numbing solution to remove the tattoo, and patients do really well. On average, I tell patients it takes 6 months to a year to remove the tattoo completely. Now, some people just want to get enough of the tattoo ink off to be able to re-tattoo that area, and others want to remove it completely. But look at these results. This technique is so effective at removing the ink from your body and doesn't put you at risk for having that potentially harmful chemical be spread throughout your lymphatic system and so forth. So I find it to be much safer, much less painful, more effective, and fully removing the ink in fewer sessions. Laser tattoo removal really depends on the ink. The hardest colors to remove are green, blue, and purple. And the more ink and the more mixture of the ink colors, which a lot of well-known artists love to do, the harder it is to remove with the laser method, which is why Tattoo Away is really superior when it comes to these very difficult ink colors to remove. If you're interested in Tattoo Away, you can contact my office. You can also follow them on Instagram, at Tattoo Away. So I hope that was helpful and that gave you an overall understanding as to why you should really proceed with caution if you do have a tattoo and you want to have it removed by a laser versus this new technology that truly expels the ink from your body and doesn't put you at risk of having the tattoo ink be spread throughout your lymphatic system. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Until next week, I will see you then.